Greetings everyone, Eric the Viking here. I will title this video something around how to leave the Jehovah's Witness cult, European edition. Us Europeans, we do have a little bit more options than you Americans or other places in the world. If, as far as I have been able to do research, there is easier ways to leave this cult here in Europe, and it comes down to the laws. And I honestly, in my interactions with Jehovah's Witnesses around the world, I'm in my mid-40s now, so I left around, or I faded out around 10 years ago now. So time flies, and of course, since 2016, when I started fading out, there has been a lot of changes, a lot. I don't think I even recognize the religion I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's completely different. Now, I would also say maybe elders here in Europe are not as crazy and fundamentalistic as maybe in the Americas. It's culture-wise and laws over here doesn't really allow you to, for elders to stalking you around. People simply don't have the time for that, especially in today's world. It's so busy. You have to get up, you have to commute to a job. The times of working part-time and pioneering is pretty much over, unless you want to live in absolute poverty, which, to be honest, most Jehovah's Witnesses are not really interested in. They have seen so many people have done it, and I honestly don't think it's appealing for most Jehovah's Witnesses anymore to work part-time and living in some cold studio basement, especially where I live here in Scandinavia. It's cold most of the year, cold and damp, and it's not very appealing living. And I know plenty of people I grew up with who did it, and today they are in full-time jobs and have families and so on. So maybe it's something you do in your very, very early 20s, but nevertheless, it's not appealing today. So, how to get out of the Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, there are the three ways, as most of the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses on YouTube will say. But there is also a fourth one now, at least for us Europeans. I cannot speak for other countries, but for people who lives in a country that is part of the European Union, there is a fourth options. First of all, how deep into the mess are you? And what I'm saying is, how are you a ministerial servant? Are you an elder? Or if you're a woman, are you full-time pioneering? What is your quote-unquote responsibility, right? Are you already married? Do you have children? Do you have any particular obligations to your parents? Are they old? They're old and maybe disabled and need your help. That is kind of how you have to look. Everyone is in a different situation. For me, I was married, I wanted out, and now I was still kind of in still, although I was fading out. I didn't want to go to meetings. I did not like how me and others were treated. and I was starting also to see certain doctrines being completely false, especially shunning blood. And later on, you figure out everything with 1914 and all that historical incorrect data that they use. But that was later. But essentially, I left because how I was treated. You are never good enough in Jehovah's Witnesses. And at some point you spiral into a very dark place in your life, and you have to make that choice of, am I gonna stay or am I going to leave? Am I supposed to stay in this mess, or am I, or do I pick a new path in life? And you deal with the consequences. I was so deep down that I knew that if I didn't leave this cult, things would not go well. Let's put it that way. No ending of anyone's life, but my mental health was absolutely train wrecked. I don't have a problem saying that, and everything else in my life was not going well either. Career, work, marriage, so on. Nothing was really working, and the absolute garbage advice I got from the elders was made the situation even worse. So yes, so I took for the active Jehovah's Witnesses, you will probably say that I took the coward way out. I faded out, slowly but surely, and but the consequences are the same. If you disassociate or get disfellowshipped. Well, maybe disassociating is a little bit rougher, but for disfellowshipping, maybe you can kind of keep some communication with family and friends. But to be honest, fading have the same result. You will have a very restrained relationship with your family. At least mine are. I mean, there are exceptions, and if that works for you, fantastic. And if you have a success story with that, you faded out, no elder is are after you, and your family respect your choice, superb. That is amazing. But usually that is not the story. Usually your family relations will be restrained, because you can't be honest with them. You cannot tell them that this organization is having a enormous CSA problem. You cannot tell them that their doctrines are false. You cannot tell them that the memorial of Jesus Christ is actually a satanic ritual, which it is. You're rejecting Jesus Christ, right? You cannot tell them that 607 is a false date. Jerusalem wasn't destroyed in 607, it was destroyed in 586. There's absolutely no evidence for 607. So that means 1914 is wrong. It's a false teaching. Yes, there was a world war at that time. Yes, it lasted 3 years. Okay, and then it was finished. We had several wars after that. And the world didn't end in 1914, as the prediction of Russell was. Life continued on. Yes, there was war here and there, like it has always been, right? So how can you even start telling this to your parents or your siblings or friends as a failure? You will be branded apostate within 10 minutes. So you will have to, as a fader, yes, you can get your family somewhat in your life, and they will keep hounding you week after week, year after year about coming back to the meetings because they still think you're a believer because you are dishonest. And that's what I've been for 10 years now. I've been dishonest. It's not before now I started opening up to them that I don't honestly believe in the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's not because I was shittily treated, it's because of doctrinal issues. And that is a huge problem now to my family, and our relationship has gone to somewhat reasonable to very bad. But at least I'm honest now. So if you can live with being dishonest to your friends and family, and of course as a fader you're still under the congregation rules, quote unquote, so you have to look over your shoulders. You cannot celebrate your own birthday. You cannot go and date unbeliever, right? You cannot participate in company parties, Christmas, Easter. You cannot visit a different church if you wanted to do that, or another religion for that matter if you wanted to investigate that. You cannot do that because if you're observed walking into, I don't know, Catholic church, evangelical church, into a mosque, into a Hindu temple, whatever it is, someone will snitch to the elders. That's how Jehovah's Witnesses are. It's a snitching culture, and everyone who's grown up in Jehovah's Witnesses know this. You cannot deny it. It is a massive snitching culture. You snitch to the elders and you get some sort of brownie points from them for later, whenever you screw up later. Then they know, oh yeah, okay, but he's very faithful, he or she. And there's no difference between men and women in the congregation, really. Everyone is a snitch. It's like the old East Germany regime, with the Stasi. Everyone was a snitch. So yeah, the fader route, it can be done. I've done it, but it has taken enormous toll on my mental health over the years, and living this double agent part where you have to look over your shoulder every time. It's to be honest, it's not a way to live, and I want to keep a good, somewhat a decent communication with my family, at least until my parents pass away. They are old now, and I don't need to. I don't want to drop the disassociating stuff in their hands now. It would really. I think it would honestly hurt my parents so much that they would probably end up in hospital. So honor your mother and father, as the Bible says. So that's what I will do for now, and we'll leave it there for me. But it's if you can handle it, fine. Then do that. So of course, like I said, you can disassociate and be done with it. You pull out the band-aid from the wound. The wound is open. Nobody will talk with you, your family, your friends. You will have to start a brand new life, which you will have to do anyway. But that's a quick way to do it. Or if you just get disfellowshipped, you're still in a limbo. So, but there is a fourth way to do this. and it has to do. It's kind of combined with with the with the fader approach. I should have maybe worded myself better earlier, but English is not my first language. So, but if you live in Europe, you have something called GDPR, which is a data protective law for the entire European Union, and every country that's part of the European Union have to follow this law. So what I did 2 years ago, I sent a letter to Bethel, and I told them that I am not disassociating myself, but I am withdrawing my GDPR from the congregation and from Jehovah's Witnesses. This means they have to delete every digital and printed information that they have on me. So every publisher records, if I'm a man or a woman, if I'm married or not, every committee someone has been into, anything on me. The only thing they can keep is my name, when I was baptized, and I think that's pretty much it. My name and when I was baptized. I think that's pretty. Maybe my date of birth. I don't think they're even allowed to keep that. But everything else, my phone number, my email, everything has to be deleted. So they are not allowed to contact me as elders. So regardless whatever they see, they cannot contact me as an elder. They can contact me as a friend, but needless to say, we are not friends, right? Me and my elders had a lot of talks previously, and I can assure you the outcome of those conversations are that we are not friends. So there is no way they can contact me because we are not friends, and they cannot contact me as elders. So you can there's an email on privacy on jw.org. You can go in there, you will get an email for your country, and you send it in, and you just say that you are not disassociating yourself, you still want to remain a member of the Watchtower, but you are withdrawing your GDPR, and you expect your data to be deleted, and then you never need to talk with them again. You don't need to look over your shoulder anymore, because they cannot do anything. Is it foolproof? I don't know. I used the solicitor, and just made sure everything was in order, and as far as I could see, my plan is good, and everything with that lawyer has been set up. So if they ever are stupid enough to call me into one of the kangaroo courts, my lawyer will come with me, and we will serve them papers, and of course I will go after them personally, of course, because if there is any active Jehovah's Witnesses elder watching this, you should know if you end up in legal trouble because something you did as an elder in the congregation, the Watchtower will throw you under the bus, and I am the bus. Watchtower will not give you a lawyer, they will not help you, they rather just see you as a nuisance that you didn't follow their direction. So So if any elder ministerial servant see this, you are liable for your actions for this. The shunning is a crime. So if you want to lose your house and your car and your savings because you wanted to be a hero in the congregation, by all means do it. But don't come and cry to the watchtower later or to me when I've taken your house and your wife will leave you because she doesn't want to be married to a brokey anymore. So take that to ease. It's already 20 minutes now. I'm not sure what more I want to say. It's hard to leave the watchtower, to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's especially if you are a born-in like me. I was a third generation. You know, my entire family of witnesses. Every aunt, every uncle, cousin, brothers and sisters, everyone I grew up with, and I have pretty much lost all of it. It's rough, but you know what? Life is beautiful, and there is so much in this world you can explore, and it is beautiful. And you don't need to become an atheist when you leave Jehovah's Witnesses. You can still remain a Christian like I have done, and it's beautiful. Now you will have to be humble enough to tell yourself that everything you learn in the watchtower is a lie. So you have to become a Bible student from scratch and read the Bible for yourself, and it's a fantastic experience. It's you know, it's like watching the Star Wars movies for the first time again. You know, it's what a thrill. You know, for someone never seen those. You know, it's reading the Bible again and learning about Jesus Christ, how he works and how he helps us in our life. It's wonderful. And if you don't believe in God anymore, then that is your thing. I would still encourage people to still live under Christian principles. I think it's the best way to live. But that's just my opinion. So I will not ramble anymore. It's 23 minutes now, so I think that's enough for today. If anyone needs help, I am happy to help. I have an email address in my channel description. I will try to add it to this video as well. You can contact me there. If you need any help, we can set up a Zoom meeting or WhatsApp meeting or whatever you need, and I will excuse me, I will try to help you as much as I can. With whatever resources I can refer you to. You know, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I have quite a few years now of experience trying to help people, so I really like that. So don't be afraid to send me an email. So everyone have a blessed day, and let me know what you think. Have a wonderful day. Bye.